What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. The KIZUNA Clash is still up and going, and at this point, you know, once you get past like level 50-ish, it gets to a pretty difficult point where, you know, some of these teams where you're trying to use all these full boosters, you may need to tweak them a little bit. I know that some people are opting to build one team versus all, but again, when you'll get to a certain point where, you know, you just won't have enough damage to kill, and you'll have to use multiple tokens in order to kill, you know, one single boss, or you have to rely on someone else to clear it for you, right? So in this video today, I'm showing you what I have done to alter my teams in order to get through some of these relatively higher difficulty bosses, and I still think some of these are going to fall very short as time progresses, of course, because, you know, there's only a finite amount of damage you can do. But anyways, let's just go ahead and just get into it, right? So of course we got the Psi, the Strength, and the Int variation, and of course I am using the boosters of Robin and Frankie still because I did pull them during the Sugo Fest, and you should be building teams with them if you did pull for those units because you can get more Super Boss coins and you can get more tickets for them. Of course, make sure to go ahead and do the KIZUNA Clash exchange, make it to all the way to box 7, make sure to get all the rainbow chests in boxes 2 to 6. That way you can get your Shanks rainbowed and you can super evolve your Strength super type Sabo. But of course, when you get to box 7, you will have to reset it multiple times in order to get those crystal skulls, in order to super evolve the 5-star Shanks into 5-star plus. But, you know, it is what it is. I really don't like the fact that, you know, KIZUNA still is kind of bad in terms of the rewards that they give you. I think that this should be severely upgraded, and it is a little bit of a shame that they haven't done that yet, because, I mean, as it stands right now, Treasure Map is the best game mode in One Piece Treasure Cruise for the amount of rewards that you get out of it. Whereas I think that KIZUNA really needs a drastic overhaul to give the players a more rewarding experience, because I don't think people want to go ahead and spend all these potions and build all these teams and do all this damage to get cola and berries and stuff like that. It just, people don't ask for this, and especially because some of the newer tablets are still not even in here, like Fear Resistance, Hunger, Shipbind. None of those tablets are in the KIZUNA exchange at this current point in time, so those need to be added in here as well. Once that occurs, I think we'll be back on the right track, but I digress. Let's actually talk about the actual KIZUNA Clash. Let's go ahead and jump into the teams that I have built to take on the UTA 10-star difficulty. Alright, so jumping into the squads, the teams are relatively similar to what I originally uploaded in my original 10-star difficulty video that dropped the day of the KIZUNA, but with some slight changes, and the biggest changes definitely stem from the versus strength fight. We'll get to it once we actually, you know, look at that particular team. But we're looking at this one here, and we're opted to use UTA as the captain this time because she will enable us to use the super class special, which allows our cerebral characters to get that additional buff. It is a pretty big buff to have that, to get super class an additional 1.2 times stats, and then of course you get access to the super class special, which buffs that attack and all boost by 0.25 per boost. So you do actually get a lot more out of this, and of course it's at a point now where we actually get to activate the final tap of UTA, where we're able to get additional damage off of that. Luckily, you know, I was able to get UTA to final tap level 4, you know, one away from that level 5, which would be awesome to get, but I don't think I'm confident enough to go ahead and use a final tap tablet to get it to level 5. But this is still great, you know, we can get to a point where we do some pretty serious damage. We have color affinity from Chopper, the attack and all boost from UTA, which is buffed. We have Shanks, and we do have, Shanks is mainly only here to remove the % damage reduction that the enemy applies. Because we have a color affinity boost from Chopper, and I do have a support Sanji that gives me a chain boost on the final stage, it means that when we use the special ability of Shanks, he is the way that we get around that % damage reduction, and with that, we just go ahead, hit the enemy, and do as much damage as we possibly can. So a pretty awesome team, but of course, there's definitely going to be a cap to this one. So this versus strength team is the team that has undergone the most transformations. I was using a different team before this and it didn't really get the job done. It didn't do as much damage as I thought. So I really went back to the drawing board and looked at some different supports. What could I use that could help me get around stage 2? Because stage 2 has 3 turns of % damage reduction and increased defense. So I thought if I could just get rid of that % damage reduction, I think I'll be good. Because usually base defense isn't that big of a problem, especially for a stage 2 fight. So what I'm doing here is I am using the Mr. 1 and Miss Doublefinger support on Robin, which removes the damage reduction. It also does provide a chain boost, but we're going to have a chain boost anyway on the last stage, so that's not really that big of a deal. And I do have this Strength Zoro, which is from KIZUNA Clash Rare Recruit, and he removes 80% of enemies' defense, so it just kind of secures that damage. So with those 2 supports, we can get rid of that. And then on the final boss stage, when we activate all of our specials, we're going to have a lot of damage. But the key thing is that barrier. That is still going to be an issue. So the way that I'm opting to get around the barrier is I am using the normal taps of Luffy and Uta first, and then we'll finish with Frankie and Shanks. After the Shanks tap, that will break the barrier. And the cool thing about Frankie and Shanks is that they both have barrier penetration. So that, you know, only 2 characters out of our 6 are not going to be doing damage because Luffy and Uta do not have barrier pierce. We break the barrier with Frankie and Shanks, and then both of the Robins are able to do their normal attacks as well. So this does do a pretty good amount of damage, but again, these teams are going to have relative caps, which is unfortunate. And then we get to the final team, and this is the team that does the most damage, and when you see, it is actually kind of crazy. This team actually does 1 billion damage, which is crazy to think about for a regular 10-star difficulty, and I'm not even using Nami either, so if I had Nami, all of these teams could be a lot better than what they currently are. But for what this team is, it's pretty wicked, and of course we can make this team become even better if we just opt to use Luffy as the captain, because Luffy can give you a higher damage multiplier, and he also has access to super typing, which means all of our characters will just do more damage, which is so good. And then, of course, Frankie's a bit of annoying on stage 2, but it's not that bad. But, you know, we get the 3.25 attack, we'll get an orb boost from Robin, we'll get the color affinity boost from Zoro, we have the base attack boost from the Usopp and Yasop, we also have the delayed conditional from Usopp and Yasop, and of course we have the Brook support from the support Sugo Fest, which enables us to get the chain multiplicative buff. So, again, like, this team does over 1 billion, it's crazy, this will last a while for sure. But these are all of the teams that I have right now for the 10-star difficulty, and if these teams all change once again, I may come back with another video talking about that. But that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully KIZUNA has been good to you, and good luck on the rest of your super boss runs in particular. That's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
Excellent!